This is V from a Canadian RV Array. What we're doing in this video is we're replacing a Dometic Penguin II air conditioning system, and we're doing it with Boucher RV Repair. Boucher is an RV repair service that's mobile, and they're in the Sarasota area. And if you'd ever like anything repaired, Boucher is the person to call. And we'll give you links and phone numbers. So tell us, how did you start the company?
Well, I was a firefighter for 8 years before this, and then my wife and I, we sold our house, bought a 43-foot fifth wheel, lived in that for about a year, and then while I was working on that, I figured I didn't want to be a firefighter during COVID anymore.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I repair my camper enough, I think I can do it. So I found a school in Florida, spent 12 weeks there, and I think it was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah, nice, nice.
We love it. Because it's the freedom to travel and
well, down here in Florida, you have a lot of opportunities. I mean, there's so many RVs here. Back in Canada where we are, the opportunities are not that great. There isn't, I mean, I think you're lucky if you see 10 Class A's, you know, in one province.
Right.
So the RV business is not the greatest up there for a mobile tech, but down here, I mean, you know, you guys should be thriving just.
Oh yeah.
So how long would it usually take to replace a unit?
I get done in about an hour and a half.
An hour and a half? Wow, nice.
Probably the most.
I have one of those handy ladders.
I love it.
A neat idea starting off the truck. You're already halfway there.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to get in on this side.
Yes. That's it.
So now that we're on top of the roof, and we're just doing an unboxing here, I just sped up the video a little bit so that we're not wasting any time with this part of it. But Dometic packages it quite nice in a box where you can easily slide it out. And what we did, we just cut all the sides away right now to allow access to the air conditioner. And very shortly we'll start taking the cowling off the old one and start removing that one, and we'll take you step by step for that too.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is actually in between time, a good time for a change of the AC unit if it's going to happen. It's not stinking hot up here.
And if you want this unit for anything, by all means you can have it, or I can.
No, you can take it away. I'm just going to, like I say, just strip that piece of stuff.
Now, by removing this front part, that actually covers the evaporator and allows air back into the ducts of the coach. Most of the control wiring is right there underneath the evaporator, which is really nice in a Penguin II because everything is through some kind of a connector for the thermostat lines, the control wiring, and also your 110 power to the unit. And you can see where we're just disconnecting everything right now to remove the unit. So let's keep watching.
It connects like this, at least on the power. So this one right here, I do have to unscrew it, but once I unscrew it, it'll make it up.
Now what we're doing is removing the 4 3/8 lag bolts that hold the unit onto the roof. And we're doing that. There's 2 in the front of the evaporator, and this is the second one. And very soon we'll take the other 2 out that hold the side of the air conditioning unit. And now just removing the 4th lag bolt that holds the back part of the unit onto the roof.
Don't take much.
So we removed all the lag bolts, and now we're in the process of just picking up the unit and lifting it right off the ducts. And you can see where they'll be exposed in a minute. And there's the 4 access bolts that bolt down, and the air ducts, the send and receive. Now what we're doing is removing the cowling off the brand new unit. We've cleaned up the area, and ready now just to start putting the new one back together. There's the cover removed. We're just going to check the bottom of the seal to make sure that everything is good.
Yep, that's where our screws are going.
Checking the 4 points where it's going to be bolted down. So now what we're doing is just temporarily placing it back on the ducts for the coach, just to line it up close, and we'll be using all kinds of Dicor and sealant to make sure that it goes down really good. So now we're putting the first bolt, the lag bolts, back into the point where it was. Now putting back the second one in the front. So now putting back the third lag bolt that holds the middle of the air conditioner down. And of course, before we put it down, we put Dicor on all of the screw holes underneath the unit, just to be extra safe. And they do have pads that come with the new AC unit that are kind of like a styrofoam pad that it sits on just to protect it from water. But a bit of Dicor, of course, always does a little better job. So now we're just checking to make sure everything is down tight. And putting down now the last bolt. So now what we have to do is we have to get access to the control wiring, which is again underneath this evaporator, and we have to take off first of all the insulation off the duct, which is the evaporator coil, and the return air for cooling, and all the screws of course have to come back off to get access to the control wiring. So let's keep watching.
What I didn't like about the easy starts is these units is the fact that they, I'd sooner put them on the inside here, like because everything's here, because this is the compressor side, right? And you're drilling through to get, or pulling that line through and then twisting it past and then trying to fasten it on here against the styrofoam. And even if you're using VHP tape, it's this stuff here, it moves, it flexes. And if it lets go, then it's going to rattle around in there.
So there's clips all the way around the unit that you want to release before you pull it off. Got a little piece connected here.
No, it's the bottom one.
Right. Oh.
No, bottom.
Okay. And all the new harness is right here that will be connecting the coach part of the housing of the wiring to this part. And they give you all kinds of different connections here. They give you an RJ11 connect through in case you're doing 1 or 2 units. Now on the side of the unit there are dip switches, and what you have to do is open up the control box, which is on just the left hand side there, and make sure that your dip switches are for either if you have a 1 zone or a 2 zone unit, and how you're controlling it. So you do want to get into that and make sure your dip switches are set like the old one. So right now we're just going to connect the wires together, and it's really nice with the Penguin II because the way they've got it set is all quick disconnects, so there's no hard wiring through screw terminals or anything like that. Let's keep watching. It's too easy with just connectors like that.
Well, that part's easy.
That part's cool.
That's
Yes.
nice. It's too bad they didn't conform their screw holes the same as they did in the old units. But this looks, I know the capacitors in here were different than the other one.
And once all your wires are connected, you want to tuck them nicely underneath the evaporator and make sure that they're all protected and there's no sharp edges.
Alright. Well, let's go ahead and test it out.
So we've just changed all the dip switches to their proper positions, and you can see the fan is already started, and we're starting to do our preliminary testing on the roof. Checking sure that the refrigerant is running properly, and where it's supposed to be cold it is cold, and wherever it's supposed to be hot on the returns it's warm. So everything looks like it's supposed to be in the right place, right temperatures and everything. So now what we're going to start doing is we've turned the unit off, and we're going to start closing things up and just tightening up everything on the control board side of it. And on this Penguin II model, you can see the little wire that's stuck into the evaporator, and that's some kind of a sensor on the evaporator coil telling us what temperature the evaporators are running at in case it freezes, and it's probably a safety that in case something does go wrong, where the evaporator will freeze and it will shut it down to allow it to heat up and melt off all the condensation and ice. So the plastic cowling, the ductwork for the evaporator is going back on. And there's again all the clips you have to make sure that they're connected. You put in your 6 screws that go all the way around the housing. And we're just in the process of doing that.
Nothing yet. There it goes.
So the last few screws going into the plastic cowling that covers the evaporator. And now putting on the styrofoam insulating part of the return duct cowling, and we're just getting all the insulation lined up and ready to put down. One quick check just of everything around to make sure that there's no wires jammed, everything's clear. And our next step, of course, will be to put the top housing back on. So now the top part going back on, and we'll be putting the 4 screws on this Dometic Penguin II. So we'd like to thank Boucher Mobile RV, and unfortunately with these units that are non-repairable, this is how you get rid of them off the top of your RV. It's a shame that Dometic does not put valves in them to make them repairable. But again, that's how we replaced our Dometic Penguin II on top of this Newmar Canyon Star. And this is V from a Canadian RVer. We hope that you've enjoyed this short video on how to replace a Dometic air unit. And here's a close look at the old one. I guess you can get some parts off it, but it wasn't really anything that you could pull apart. So again, V from a Canadian RVer, thanks for watching. Please give us a thumbs up, please subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.